your brain.
Hello friends, so this is going to be a video of my recent reads, what I've been recently reading this month, which is this stack here plus one audiobook that I have done. So let's talk about them. Let's get this one out of the way. I've been reading Hocus Pocus with my booktube besties, Bonnie and Alicia. Their channels will be linked down below for y'all if you want to read them. if y'all want to check out their channels. Alicia doesn't have anything up on her channel just yet, but she is getting into the works of making a video. So we are buddy reading this. I have stopped on part 2 of it. I haven't read any further. I will pick this up again on the 19th of this month. But so far, it's just the first book, Hocus Pocus, which is based off of the movie. Literally, reading this, I was seeing the movie in my head for sure, like nonstop, and it made me want to watch the movie. So I'll probably be watching Hocus Pocus soon. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. These are in no particular order, by the way. I just picked them up off of my stack here, and I'll be talking about them. So the first book obviously is a 5 out of 5, hands down. Loved it. Can't wait to read the second book and figure out what's going to happen there and what is going on, which it's actually pretty long, so there are going to be some good quirky shenanigans in this, and I can't wait. So next book is Scooby-Doo and You, The Case of the Haunted House. I gave this a 4 out of 5. It was super cute, super enjoyable. It's a Scooby-Doo book. I loved it so much. I had a whole bunch of Scooby-Doo books growing up as a kid, and I don't remember what happened to them. But I got this one for my son out of a free little library one day, so I loved it. And you get to find like little clues inside here, like right here where Velma is. You find the flashlights. And then at the end, it asks you if you figured out who was the villain. And it was super cute, and I really enjoyed it. It was a super fast read. I think I read this in like 30 minutes or so. It was super fast. The next book I read was Once Upon a Swine, a Gravity Falls book. Bonnie got me this for my birthday, and I absolutely loved it. I cannot wait to pick up the first one. This is the second book. It was very enjoyable, and I loved it so much. And my son loves Gravity Falls also. So I'll probably reread this and read it to him because I know he'll love it. So this has got 2 stories in it. The first one is about this time guy right here. This time guy. So the first story is about when he first shows up in Gravity Falls, and Mabel and Dipper basically get him put in jail, in future jail, so because he's from the future. And then the second one is when a giant pterodactyl steals Waddles, and it's Stan's fault, and Mabel realizes that Stan is mean and he lied to her. So the next one I read was Frankenstein. Oh, and I gave this a 4 out of 5, I do believe. It was a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. Really, really enjoyed it. Next one I read was Frankenstein. This was a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved Mary Shelley's writing in this. As you can see, I annotated it. It was such a good book. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, even though I've watched so many adaptations of Frankenstein. So I knew I should have loved it, and I should have read it a long time ago, and I don't know why I didn't. Maybe because it's a classic, and from previous experiences, I do not get into a lot of classics. So this is the first classic that I have read that I have fully dove into and truly loved. But it also reminded me of the creepy eeriness of Edgar Allan Poe. And Poe is a beautiful classic writer. I consider Poe a classic writer, a classic author of poetry and short stories. But yeah, loved Frankenstein, thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait to pick up Dracula next month. So the next book I read was The Horseman by Christina Henry. This was very, very good, told from the perspective of Ben von Burnt, who thought that they were a boy when they were born a girl, and how they come, it's kind of hard to describe. You do get the talk of Ichabod Crane in here. He was a schoolmaster inside of this book. He wasn't a doctor like in different Sleepy Hollows. You do get to see, there is descriptions of bodies in here, and like horrible description of how the body is described inside of this book. The plot twist was not expecting whatsoever. Loved this book so much. It was hands down a 5 out of 5. I'm definitely going to be rereading this for sure. I loved how much she grew inside of this book, or how much they grew inside of this book. I don't want to say she, because they identify as a boy, so I'll just say he. He grew so much in this book, finding out so many different stories about his grandparents, and the love that his grandparents have for each other, the love that he realizes he's never going to have and doesn't really want, and the realization that he doesn't want any kids. And the horseman inside this book, it's not the typical headless horseman you think is the Sleepy Hollow tale of the Headless Horseman. It's something totally, totally different. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it a lot, like I said. And then the next book I'm going to talk about is Return to Fear Street, You May Now Kill a Bride. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. So this is told, I want to say, in dual timelines. You get the first part of the story is about Ruth Ann and her sister Rebecca. They are estranged sisters. They don't really get along. They hate each other. Ruth Ann does magic because the Fear family can do magic. They're also cursed. They're not allowed to marry a good. She ends up marrying a good, and on her wedding day, something terrible happens to her and her sister. And then it jumps into Marissa, and I totally forgot her freaking name. What is her name? Yeah. Marissa and her sister's name. I cannot ever. Why can I literally finished this last night. Why can I not remember her freaking name? What is happening here? Why can I not remember her name? I'm sorry, y'all. I cannot remember her freaking name, and it's bugging the living crap out of me. Oh, what is her name? 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 I keep coming up with everyone's name but hers, and it's really bugging me. Harmony. There we go. Her name was Harmony. So it's Harmony and Marissa. They are yet again estranged sisters in the Fear family. Harmony does the magic for the Fear family. Marissa is the older sister, and she basically gets everything she wants. So, what happens in this is Marissa gets stuck in a time loop with Ruth Ann and Rebecca because of their involvement in she getting married into a good, which caused the curse for their family to happen even more. So this is literally surrounded by 2 weddings, by the way. It was very good, very interesting. I really love Stein's writing, and the ending was not his typical Stein ending, which I loved so much. Even though I love his endings, I love this one so much too. You also get grief in this book, how people handle grief, how people handle loss of family members, how people handle betrayal, and how parents can handle or can't handle the loss of a child. I will say that. It was very good. I loved it so much. Definitely, I'll probably end up rereading this. I reread a lot of Stein books, and I know I'll be rereading this. So, those were, sorry, words are hard right now. Those were my recent reads. Oh, sorry, I totally forgot to talk about yours truly, Elvira by Cassandra Peterson. I listened to that book. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I normally do not rate memoirs, but I thoroughly loved her book so much. And the stuff she went through as a child was hard to hear about. And I love how she got to see and be with so many actors and musicians, and her talking about her love for Vincent Price and everything, what got her into all those creepy, macabre stuff that she got into, and how she continues to be this day the queen of Halloween, and the hardships she had to go through, everything that she had to go through during her life was hard. And then at the end of her book, she was talking about how she and her partner T finally realized that they were meant to be together and meant for each other, and she wasn't expecting to be I do believe in her 50s, realizing that she is part of the LGBTQIA plus community, and that she was more into women, that she's more into women than she is men, because all her life she chased after men, and she bumped into T again later on during life, and one night after a premiere she ended up just kissing T, and then she realized that how much excitement it gave her and love that it gave her, and how much she loved T. So it was really truly good, and I love how she found the person for her, and she is truly happy, and I love that for her. So that being said, these are all the books that I have read recently during this month, plus the Elvira book, and I love them so much. My reading this month has been hands down the best ever, and I do attribute that to having my 2 booktube besties and having them to talk to about books, and we have been buddy reading a lot of books recently, so loved it. We buddy read Frankenstein, we're buddy reading Hocus Pocus, as you know, and we buddy read You May Now Kill a Bride, and loved it so much. So yeah, this is the end. Remember to be kind to each other, be safe out there, and always go on to your next book adventure, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. If I could begin to be half of what you think